What it do, everybody? Appreciate you clicking on the video, sitting down, taking a little bit of time to watch this and listen to it. It's my first sit down and just talk video. The first one that I want to do is a message to the barber students. Very important people in my life, to be honest with you. I look at barber students like some of the toughest people on earth because that process is not easy. I've been through it myself. Went back to barber school in 2022 and worked a full-time sales career and everything like that while doing it. Had to take a break in between, and get back after it after I decided, I'm done with the whole sales life. I want to be a barber, And there's a whole lot more that goes to that word barber. You have owner, you have instructor, you have educator, you have businessman. So many different ways to go about it, and it's something I always wanted to do since I was about 13, 14 years old. Started cutting myself in the bathroom, a little trifold mirror, or the medicine cabinet mirror with the in the apartment, and a pair of just wall clippers from Walmart, for 25, 30 bucks, and a little peanut trimmer. That's how it all started. So, I just wanted to get this message out there to all the barber students. So I appreciate you again, and we're going to get right into it. First thing that I would say is be fully prepared to work. And when I mean work, I mean work. When you first get into the shop, this is not going to be just you come in and clients are going to be overflowing. You're going to have to go out there and get busy, whether it's doing guerrilla marketing, social media, just local community events, getting out there, passing out cards, which falls into the guerrilla marketing. Guerrilla marketing is something where it's boots on the ground. You're the one out there, you're, shaking hands, talking to people, doing all those different things. And it's networking is what it is. As a barber, you're going to build a network before you even know it. You're going to have electricians, plumbers, lawyers, doctors, other local business people in the area that you can work with, that they, you benefit them, they benefit you. And you don't even realize it, but over time, you create a big old network just barbering. So my thing is, get ready to get after it. Be in the shop from the moment it opens to the moment that it closes. At the beginning, you're going to have to give up your time. That's just the God honest truth. You're going to spend hours, working on your content. You're going to spend hours practicing. You're going to spend hours studying, and you're going to spend hours debating whether this is for you or not. And I promise you, it is. It's so worth it. The other thing I would say is, always be open to learn. Just because you graduated from barber school doesn't mean that you're ready for the shop and what the actual shop brings. Just because in barber school you worked on tapers and fades and worked with a little bit of enhancements, that's cool. Did you ever pick up shears? Did you? No. How can you expect to be out here charging $50 for a quick taper or whatever it is, but the moment somebody with, straight hair, curly hair, whatever it is, comes in and they ask for a shear cut, you can't deliver. Salons are charging $65 to $100 for shear cuts, just a simple dry shear cut. Why can't barbers charge $45 to $50 for just a standard flow cut, or just a half inch off all the way around with some gradual layers or some graduation? Learn those things, because I'm telling you, you don't want to turn people away from your chair. You also don't want to butcher them either, but spend the time learning the techniques, the processes, and the systems to be able to learn all different types of hair. We're in the hair business, and business equals money. So learn all hair. That's all I got to say. There's going to be days where you're going to do 5 cuts. There's going to be days you do 15. Learn how to balance yourself and ask for reoccurring appointments. If you know they love that haircut and you treated them great, you gave them a great service, the consultation was on point, they're going to want to come back. So why even allow them to go somewhere else? Like in free agency, you just franchise tagged a client real quick for 2 weeks, because, oh, I got them right. They're happy with it. They'll be back. Did you ever ask for that other appointment? Did you ask them how often they like to go get a haircut? Do you like to get a haircut every 2 weeks? Do you like to do it every 4? Or is it every quarter, right? It doesn't matter. Book it. Hey, my schedule sometimes gets a little crazy. Let's go ahead and lock you in there so that way we can keep you. I like having you in my chair, so let's just keep this thing going. Build those relationships with those people, because this is a relationship business one way or another. I know I've said that in the first part of the video, but emphasizing on that again, that is the truth. It's relationships. You can be a mediocre hair cutter, but if you're a great person, people will want to mess with you. So, and if you're even a better barber and a better person, then shit, you got everything in your wheelhouse. Why don't you succeed? It's going to take effort, but you will succeed eventually. and the journey's the funnest part about it, because if you remember, like I do, when I got to barber school, I never messed with shears ever. But I knew that if I wanted to do the haircuts that I wanted to do, I was going to have to learn those techniques, those subsections, horizontal, diagonal sections, and, or setting in a base and then following that up, and different techniques to texturize hair, such as point cut and notching, all those different things. And I just became obsessed with it. And I'm still learning. It's something since 2022 that I've been chasing. It's 2025, but I was cutting back in high school, and it was just clipper and trimmers. That was it. There was no clipper over comb. It was, if I got this darker area here, then I'm just gonna put a higher guard on and flick out with and hope for the best. But then I learned clipper over comb thanks to Mr. Stevens. That was my barber instructor in part time. He just showed me, hey, 45 degree, 90 degree, 0 degree, how to like level it out on somebody's head to do different shades and blend things a little bit differently and keep weight or take away weight while not skipping steps, but cutting down time. So I'll forever be grateful for that. But, I took it upon myself, thanks to Mr. B, Mrs. Stevens, and Mrs. D. They just said, get after it. Whatever you want to do, go for it, and that's what we did. And by the time I graduated out of barber school, I was confident in shear work, confident enough where somebody could come in with shoulder length hair, and I wasn't nervous about it. I already saw the end vision by the time they sat in the chair, and that's what I wanted to be. And it took a lot of work and a lot of effort. I wish I had my wife here so she could tell you, but there's days I probably drove her crazy because all it was barbering, 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 barbering. I swear. Probably talked about the shit in my sleep, but hey, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. The other thing too is you got into this to be your own boss. And I'll be honest with you, you are technically, but you're not your own boss until you get a registered barber's license. If we're being honest here, you're an apprentice. Nobody is their own boss. Shop owners ain't their own boss. They pretty much work for the business. And whatever the business needs, you have to be there. It's not, oh, I own a shop, I can just do whatever the hell I please that day. No. And I've been able to witness that firsthand from my man Mike, and one of the hardest working people I've ever seen. And I mean that wholeheartedly. This man will not sleep in order to build something for the shop, in order to, work on some analytics on the behind the scenes type stuff. But that's what it takes to own a shop. And unless you're willing to completely give yourself into it, I don't recommend going into it because you're going to disappoint yourself. But if you're fully prepared to deal with whatever it has to throw at you, whether it's not meeting payroll, whether it's taxes, whether it's permits, whether it's the state board, whatever it is, honestly, fuck it. Get after it. Just get it. That's the easiest way to go about it, and everything falls into place when it's supposed to. This same shop that I'm sitting in right now, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chairs. Started off with 4, and it was just this half. And now, due to Mike's hard work, 8 chairs, full lounge. We got a pool table. We have a bar. We have all these things like that in there that look beautiful. It fits the aesthetic, but all that doesn't come. It just doesn't show up. You got to make it happen. So Mike took me under his wing, showed me, he's showing me the ropes. He told me straight up, I want you to manage my shop. I want you to keep things in line, but also this is like a owner internship program, and I'm all for it. I get to cut full time. I get to work with my staff full time, whether it's trainings, things of that nature, but that's what we do. But just be open for opportunities because you just never know what the barber game's going to throw at you. The other thing, learn the hair dryer. Learn how to dry hair the proper way so that way you can style the hair. Start messing with those things right now because that will make a big, big difference once you get out here. And everybody says that imitation is the highest form of flattery. It's true because somebody's doing a good job. So why don't you want to do a good job? Sometimes with this content thing, you have to replicate certain things that other people are doing, and that's okay. If anything, that should be a pat on the back to them. It's not, oh, he's stealing my shit or she's stealing my stuff. No, somebody's trying to learn the game that you've already learned, right? And I don't think that's a bad thing. Sometimes you just have to learn those different editing techniques and systems to be able to achieve good content quick and not stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning editing. That's going to be the beginning. But once you start getting comfortable, you get off work at 6, you get home at 7, you eat dinner with your spouse and everything of that nature. By the time 8:30, 9 o'clock hits, you can sit down, pull out your MacBook, laptop, whatever it is, or your phone. I edited on my phone for months, actually years before I bought a MacBook. Take an hour a day and invest into yourself. Yes, you're working behind the chair, and that's great, phenomenal. But there's always a little bit more that you can do. And whether that's creating your content, doing voiceovers, or just simply just interacting with other barbers on your time off. You know what I mean? Like, learn from these other people, find mentorships, and just even pay for one. I got some buddies down there that I went to barber school with, and they're killing it right now. And guess what? They could either decide to not do, you know, mentorships, internships, whatever it may be, because they feel like they're already at a certain level, or they can sit down, pay the money, fly out, spend 5 days with some of these guys, you know what I mean, that really know what they're doing, and learn even more. Take these skills back with you, increase your prices. All those things benefit you at the end of the day. All of them. So none of it's going to be in vain. Absolutely none. But just, at the end of the day, be willing to get after it, because it really does make a difference. The other thing in barber school too, build a portfolio. It doesn't even have to be the best work. If there's hope, we'll see it. Just build that portfolio, have photos, have videos, have some stuff there that you can show your work. Not just walking in, hey, I graduated out of barber school. I'm looking for a shop. Cool. Can you cut? If we're being honest here, because this is a place of business now. Google exists, Yelp exists, word of mouth exists. You can't be jacking people up and expect for it to still be fine. Me personally, I'm always going to do a test cut with you, and I put my own head on the line. It is what it is. We can always do a high skin fade, worst case scenario. It'll grow back its hair. When you're coming into a spot, make sure you look professional, make sure you look clean, ready to work, not just coming in some jeans, some sneakers, you know what I mean? And I know I got that on right now, but I'm chilling. That's just me in the shop. But behind the chair, I dress completely different. Everything is tucked in. It's nice and neat and professional. You see me out and about, I don't look like a barber. I look more like a sales guy or a lawyer or something of that nature, especially with the tie and stuff on. I want to carry myself different, and that's what we do here in this shop. We carry ourselves different, and it makes a difference. Don't be services you don't want to do. Still do them. Because at a certain point in time, the more people you can get into your chair, the more people you can set up on a reoccurring, the more times you see them folks, the more you get comfortable with their head, the more you get comfortable with their hair type. The process starts getting a little bit better for you. And all you really need is 80 to 100 consistent clients. Everybody says that online. You know what I mean? It is true. Because how many hours are in the day? If you have 16 slots set up a day, or 15, 10, that's 50 heads a week. That's 102 weeks. And that covers your funds for for your pay period. So, just get after it a little bit and always stay open-minded. Now, if you guys have any questions, any concerns, comments, whatever it is, this channel is open to all criticism. Put it down, put it in. Any topics you guys want to discuss, I'm more than willing to. Given the time. I'm working on creating a little creative studio in my garage now, which even more content will be getting pumped out. I just went and picked up the workbench today. I'm going to be putting that together. So a lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline. But those were just some of the main things I wanted to discuss today. And I appreciate y'all tuning in. And like I said, there'll be a whole lot more content coming. Appreciate y'all.